Imagine if a bear snuck into your den every night and scraped a tiny piece out of every acorn you saved. The shell looks the same. The pile seems just as high. You wouldn't notice on Tuesday. You wouldn't see it on Wednesday. But by the end of the year, you crack open your winter stash, and half your wealth is just empty shells. This thief has a name: inflation. Most bears think inflation means the fox is getting greedy and raising prices. That is the myth. The reality is much scarier. It's not that honey is becoming more valuable. It's the acorns the owl printed are becoming worthless. Let's look at the mechanics. The economy soup is the goods and services we produce, the actual stuff. The acorns are the ladles we use to measure it. Now let's look at the mechanism: watering the soup. When the owl government wants to spend acorns, it doesn't have them, so it doesn't tax bears because they would get angry. Instead, he pours water into the soup. He prints more acorns. You still get a full ladle, but it's watered down. This isn't a theory. Since the Federal Reserve was created in 1913, the US dollar has lost about 97% of its purchasing power. The soup has been watered down so much that what used to be a complete meal is now just a single crumb. Now let's look at the impacts of watering the soup. Impact number 1, the shrinking trick. Here is Felix the Fox's little secret. The fox knows that if he raises the price from 5 acorns to 6 acorns, you will get angry and stop buying. The 5-acorn price point is a psychological anchor. So instead of asking for more acorns, the fox decides to give you less honey. Economists call this shrinkflation. This happens when input costs rise, such as transportation, labor, and raw materials, all get more expensive because the currency is losing value. The manufacturer has 2 choices. 1, raise the price and lose customers. 2, keep the price but shrink the package. They almost always choose option 2. They're betting on the fact that you memorize prices, but you rarely memorize net weight. In the real world, this is everywhere. Take a standard family-size bag of chips. Over just a few years, many brands shrank from 18 ounces to under 15 ounces. The bag is the same size, the price is the same, but they pumped in more air to fill the space. You didn't pay for more money, but you paid an 18% inflation tax without even realizing it. It's a psychological trick to hide the inflation thief. The currency is dying, so the physical goods are slowly disappearing, leaving you holding a bag full of air. Impact number 2, the illusion of the raise. This is the cruelest trick of all, the money illusion. Bear Barry gets a raise. You see more acorns in your pile. You feel richer. But while you were celebrating your 3% raise, the owl watered down the soup by 5% to pay for his new nest. The number on your paycheck went up, but the amount of honey you can buy went down. Economists call this sticky wages. When inflation hits, prices at the store goes instantly. They take the elevator, but are your wages? They take the stairs. You must wait for your annual review, beg your boss, and negotiate. By the time you get that cost of living adjustment, you've already been paying higher prices for a year. You're constantly chasing your own tail, but you never catch up. Let's look at the real data. In the 1980s, the median home cost about 3 times the average yearly salary. Today, in many places, it costs 7 to 10 times the average wage. Even though you have way more paper money than your grandfather did, your labor is actually worth less in terms of tangible assets. This is the great divergence that started around 1971. We kept working harder and producing more, but because the money itself was broken, the rewards didn't flow to the workers. They flowed to the people who own the assets. So the next time you get a raise that matches inflation, don't celebrate. You didn't get a reward. You just got permission to stay on the treadmill. Impact number 3, the saver's punishment. We're taught from a young age, work hard, save your money, and you will be safe. But in a high-inflation economy, the saver is the biggest victim. Bear Barry puts his acorns in the vault. The fox gives him a 2% interest reward. Bear Barry feels smart. But while the acorns sit in the dark, the owl is outside inflating the currency by 7%. This is the math they don't teach in school. If the bank pays you 2%, but inflation is 7%, you're not making money. You're losing 5% of your life's work every single year. Your savings account isn't a vault, it's a melting ice cube. The owl needs this to happen. The owl has borrowed massive amounts of acorns. It's called national debt. The only way the owl can pay back that debt is to make the acorns worth less. The owl is literally burning the value of your savings to keep his debts warm. This forces the good bear to do something dangerous. Because he can't save his way to safety, Bear Barry is forced to become a gambler. He has to take his safe acorns and throw them into the risky stock market or expensive real estate to try to outrun the inflation thief. And that's precisely where the trap snaps shut, because when the recession hits, the bears playing in the casino are the first ones to get eaten. So, how do you fight the silent heist? You stop holding the watered-down soup called cash. You start having the ingredients called assets. You invest in scarce things, things the owl cannot print. Real estate, stocks, businesses, commodities, or your own skills. Stop trying to save your way to safety in a currency that is designed to leak. If you want to learn how to build that asset shelter, make sure you subscribe to the Doodling Economist. And tell me in the comments, what is the one item where you've noticed the shrinkflation the most? For me, it's definitely the potato chips. It's mostly air now.